let's explore what makes downtown succeed as an innovation community, an innovation ecosystem. And maybe the most important thing to start with here is that, when you talk to the HR and R&D directors at Canada North or virtually in any innovation cluster, center, district, they'll tell you right off the bat, they don't expect their employees to come back to the workplace any more than anybody else does. They would love to get 60% of their workforce back 3 days a week. They don't know if that will be possible. I remember asking the good folks in Canada North, well, why do you care about place-based planning then? And basically they said, if our folks aren't in the office, it's more important to us than it has been at any point in time, because we want them living, playing, learning, and living their lives within 5 minutes of the office, of the workplace, I should say, if they're not going to be here. So let's explore why. This is Canada North. I suspect few people in this audience would just say, gee, I want to go work there, although boy, are there great jobs and is there great innovation going on. On the other hand, this is Old Town in downtown Wichita, for which we did a downtown plan. It has launched an innovation economy. The Downtown Partnership has, working with Wichita State University. Where did Wichita State decide to create its innovation center? Not on their campus outside downtown, but in a building in the heart of Old Town, where folks also want to live, play, and do all the things that make a place a good place to live and spend your life. So within a 5-minute walk, what Wichita can now offer, and what Canada North dearly wants to offer, is a wide range of housing that will attract people, but let's say people, who will support a broad array of food, caffeine, shopping, arts, beer, the amenities that folks really seek these days and to which they want to walk. This in turn will attract talent. And here I want to introduce one additional idea: creative collisions, because what the R&D and HR folks for Canada North reported was that, while in many ways their companies were maintaining their efficiency, their productivity, one area was in sharp decline, and this they call their innovation productivity or IP index. I can't tell you exactly how they define it, but what they basically said was the creative collisions, the unplanned meetings, and try and have an unplanned Zoom call that folks have who often don't know each other, who probably don't work for the same company. And Brookings has emphasized that a conversation between two folks who don't work for the same company is worth a lot more to both companies than a conversation between folks who work for the same company, in terms of introducing new ideas, discovering a new direction to take innovation that can basically start the prospect of the process of leading to products that these companies can commercialize. Their material, what really shapes their ability to be productive is, it's not water, it's not energy, it's ideas. And these ideas are more than any other way, sparked by conversations, by chance conversations, these creative collisions. Now think, where do these best take place? In downtowns with the food, caffeine, shopping, arts, beer that has attracted talent, but also offers them a chance to come together, to have chance meetings, to overhear a comment that somebody's making to a friend that relates to something that a third person is thinking about at work that day. When all of these are in place, innovation, jobs, and investment show up, and basically show up with large numbers of jobs and significant investment. So what do these places look like? This is actually an illustration for redevelopment of the South Bay Mall, just outside of downtown Boston. It was actually built as a big box mall for places like Home Depot, etc. As it declines and its parking demand decreases, this new mixed-use, walkable, the words, highly amenitized innovation live, work, play, innovation neighborhood is taking shape. It is basically filling the parking that is no longer required at the periphery of this center and moving in as these businesses close. And why is it so successful? Because it attracts folks, primarily without kids. It's providing a lively, fun, highly interactive, community-rich environment. Everything's within a 5-minute walk. And boy, is this a place where these creative collisions I've talked about happen. So innovation companies are beginning to eye some of the big boxes. The companies I mentioned once occupied and are leaving. And in some cases, they simply want to reoccupy them as innovation space. In other cases, build new space. I suspect over time will be built out as a dense new center. As a quick detour, we are starting planning for the Natick Mall, the largest mall in New England, and a life science company or developer has just bought the Neiman Marcus store. Neiman Marcus, as you know, is bankrupt, in the mall and is literally reoccupying it with taking advantage of its large floor plates to reoccupy it with research space and other forms of innovation. I mentioned Calgary, where I spent the last week, gave a talk recently for the ULI to all the cities in Alberta for their downtown forum about a new era of downtown opportunity. Quick research told me that, and I wasn't surprised, that Calgary and Alberta, which have not traditionally been associated with strong innovation economies, have been attracting significant new innovation investment and jobs to their cores because these cores are lively and walkable. And boy, are these cities increasingly focused on making these downtowns more walkable, more lively, more mixed use. And to do that, they are emphasizing attracting housing. Downtown Indianapolis, long before I arrived, put together a new economic development strategy that really focused on educated, talented workers and creating the attractive and connected places, the vibrant and inviting image. And an image is only as good as the reality that it describes, as a way to attract innovative enterprise and business, because Indianapolis saw that as its future. Did a lot of work in East Franklinton, just outside of downtown Columbus. This was a number of years ago. East Franklinton was the poorest neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. The plan focused on extensive use of long-term, actually permanent, affordable housing for artists, and that attracted a permanent arts community that has really redefined the character of East Franklinton from being a poor community that with a lot of vacancy, with actually no commercial activity, into the heart of Columbus's creative economy, drawing more investment particularly in innovation industries and jobs and investment from innovation industries than anywhere else in the Columbus region. And Columbus is really a city on the move. This is the South End in Boston, where I actually live. This was the Flower Mart, which has moved. It is being redeveloped by a client, and they actually asked us to do some planning for them and to think, what should this be? And we said, housing and innovation. They tested the idea, decided to name it South End Exchange. Think of exchange meant to suggest the kind of a place where the creative collisions I talked about happen, exchange of ideas. This project is moving rapidly into development. And I will note that it is, you can't quite tell from this, sort of scaled and designed and programmed and planned to be a real amenity to the adjacent South End residential neighborhood, so that nearby residents don't just say, oh, gee, you're developing in our neighborhood, you're going to generate traffic, crowding, and change the character of our quality of our neighborhood. They're looking at it and saying, oh, this is a cool amenity I can walk to that enriches my quality of life, as well as bringing a job nearby. Buffalo, New York, another city we've been doing a lot of work in. Downtown Buffalo is coming back to life as a center for citywide and regional innovation. Bridge Park, a new downtown for suburban Dublin, Ohio. This is outside of Columbus. Dublin is one of the wealthiest suburbs in the Midwest, developed around internationally admired golf courses. Former city manager, a fellow by the name of Terry Fogler, said, golf courses are not the future for a robust economy. Dublin had been attracting a lot of Class A office space out of downtown Columbus, et cetera. Terry wanted to maintain that, if not accelerate it. So he said, what we need is a mixed-use, walkable downtown. They assembled a series of strip centers and single-use office parks. We did the planning. this downtown has come to life, and I would say is broadly supported across this suburban community, initially very skeptical of greater density and sort of a sense of urban quality or an urban place brought to the midst of this very successful suburb. I still remember the chair of the Planning Commission saying, "Oh, I get it. My husband, my kids and I can get in our bikes, ride on the bike path and get ice cream in Bridge Park." So thank you, and please now come with me to Chapter 5, and I'll talk about some of the planning steps and the urban design principles to really unlock this opportunity.